All right, Wyoming, I'm headed back south towards Cheyenne, and I wanted to update a lot of you guys on the Food Freedom Act amendments. I know a lot of you are very passionate about food policy that are on this page, and thanks for following along. So we've got several pieces of legislation to deal with the Food Freedom Act, specifically in the state of Wyoming, all of which expands your rights as a producer and a consumer, which is awesome. We've got great support in the House and great support in the Senate. So the two bills. The first bill is run by me, and it's called Food Freedom Act Amendments, and that's broad, overarching amendments on the act itself. The main aspect of it is just cleaning up the act, making it a lot cleaner. I had a lot of fluff language in the first one, and there's been some confusion because of said fluff language, so we're cleaning it up, making it sharper, more in detail. We're expanding on where transactions can take place. And we've got a broad, overarching definition. We say street corner, office, blah, blah, blah. But at the very end of the sentence on where these transactions can take place, we say anywhere agreed upon between the producer and the informed end consumer. There's a good one. But we're also adding rabbits into the bill. And I think Representative Dan Larson is going to have a nice amendment to bring to that piece of legislation to basically compound down on something we're already doing, which is domesticated. You're going to have to find out when Dan Larson runs it. I'll run a video on it with that. But it's not solidified yet, and I don't want to speak too soon and out of line. So Dan Larson's going to have to tell you about that. Another thing that piece of legislation is done. We know we're adding rabbits. We're expanding on where these transactions can take place in this bill, but we're also going to put in the 1,000-bird exemption under poultry into this bill. Now, Tyler, why would you put in USDA regulation on Wyoming statutes? I totally agree. I'm not a fan of it. However, I don't want somebody to get in trouble with the USDA agent because they're going off of my law. We don't have complete primacy. I hate that. I hate that we don't have complete primacy over our food in the state of Wyoming. I hate it just as much as anybody else. However, because we don't have that, I don't want my act, your food law to get someone in trouble that doesn't know about the 1,000-bird exemption. And what the Poultry Inspection Act states. So I put in some of those rules. 1,000-bird exemption, be the producer of your own birds, etc. Hurts my heart to do it, but it needs to be done. It really does, and it backs us up in case a certain USDA agency decides to come after us, which very high likelihood right now over this poultry aspect. So we're gonna back ourselves up and make sure that we've got the correct amount of protections needed to protect Wyoming's limited primacy we've already got. That's an important aspect. Bill number 2, brought to you by Senator Doc Stater out of Star Valley. He is setting up essentially what I call the liquor room rule, which is a great rule, if you know, and it's going to work. That's the great part about the rule. I personally wish, and I think that if an individual produces inspected goods and non-inspected goods, and they own the building from which they're selling, they should be able to sell it wherever they want. If they own that building, that's their private property. However, that's not the way it works with USDA, of course, because the USDA doesn't make sense. What we've got to do is create a rule that says if you have an inspected kitchen or anywhere that is inspected by the Wyoming Department of Agriculture for the purpose of selling food, and you want to sell uninspected goods in there, you have to have it sectioned off, just like grocery stores and liquor. So I think it's a great idea. Senator Doc Stater worked on it really hard with the Wyoming Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Agriculture has been great in this aspect and helping Senator Doc Stater along with it. And I think it's a home run. I'm really, really pumped about that aspect. I think that opens the doors on so much more types of direct sales. So that's your good news on the food freedom aspect, unless you're just not a fan of food freedom. If you're not a fan of food freedom, you probably don't belong on this page, and adios. But if you guys have any questions or comments about that, please leave them below. I'd love to hear them. That's about it for me for now. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.